sshgxsam11.net setup. In other words, how did I set up my iMac and the server to allow me to be able to SSH gxsam11.net simply by typing in console on my iMac, just simply typing ssh gxsam11.net. What were the steps that I took to make it possible for me to be able to do that? The first thing is creating the SSH key pair, the public and the private keys. At this point, I just want to point something out. Because I am doing this process on a production server with cPanel, the process is, especially right in this spot here, is going to be different. Okay, so I'm going to use the cPanel. Okay, so I went into cPanel, logged in. Went to security section, SSH access. Then I went to manage keys and I went to generate a new key. Okay, I gave the key a name. I called it ID_RSA_GXSAM11. I probably should have left the key password blank, but I made a key password and that can be found in eWallet. I changed this to the type to RSA and I changed the size to 2048. Okay, that created a public key and a private key. Notice that the ID names look the same, but the files, if you download them, actually this one will have a .pub. The public one will have a .pub after the file name. Also, notice there's something called authorization status. As you may know, when you deal with SSH, the server that you're SSHing into has a file called authorized users. The public key has to be added to that file. And the way to do this using cPanel would be to click on manage and then to authorize this key. Next, I put the two files I downloaded for the public and private key in the .ssh directory on my iMac. Here they are. I did a chmod 600 on this file, the private key. That way, when I run SSH, it won't complain that there's an insecure setting. That's the command I used, chmod 600 ID_RSA_GXSAM11. At that point, I opened up eWallet and I documented the text for the public and private key, and I documented the password for that RSA key. Okay, also, at this point, I took note of the path to the private key, and I wrote it down. The name of the file is this, and the path, let me clear the screen first. The path is, okay, and add to the end of that the name of the private key. Then, after that, I modified the .ssh config file. Okay, see, we're in the SSH directory. Let's see here. I did, nano config to modify the config file. Okay, I added this section over here. That way, I can just type ssh gxsam11.net. I don't have to put the username gxsam11 and an @. And also, it will automatically know which key to use because I have several keys. Otherwise, I would have to use the I switch, use a -I, and then specify the path to the key. So there you have it. That's how I set up my system so that all I have to do is type ssh gxsam11.net. And let me show that to you. By the way, I can't show this, but the first time I logged in, the keychain asked to memorize the password for the SSH key, so I don't have to put it in every time. See, sshgxam11.net, hit enter, and I'm SSH'd into my Liquid Web VPS into the GXSAM11 account.